Every single day in Ukraine, hundreds of people lose their lives due to Vladimir Putin's needless war. In the Kherson region, the stage is being set for the inevitable liberation of the city itself. The Ukrainians have destroyed all the bridges linking Kherson to the rest of the occupied territories. This means that the Russians are having serious trouble reinforcing and resupplying their garrison within the city. To do that, they first have to conquer the mighty Dnipro River. Ukrainian artillery have been working in overdrive, laying waste to dozens of Russian ammunition depots and command centers behind enemy lines. Several large explosions has hit Russian-occupied Crimea, including an airbase where around 10 Kremlin planes were destroyed. Moscow is calling it an accident. However, satellite images reveals that it was done with high-precision strikes, allegedly by the Ukrainian army. Now, the reason I'm telling you all this is so you can see all that the Ukrainians are doing in preparation for the actual push towards the city. Now, as I started out by saying, every single day hundreds are dying. And I'm afraid that number will begin to increase drastically soon. The reason I'm saying this is because that in 8 to 10 weeks it will start to rain a lot. Then it gets muddy, really muddy. The same kind of muddy that stopped both the French and German armies. Then the snow and everything comes to a standstill. What I'm saying is that in 8 to 10 weeks, off-road maneuvering becomes impossible. This, however, can be seen as somewhat of a Ukrainian advantage. The Russians are the ones in foreign land, and remember in the first months of the war, when the Russians were forced to use the roads to transport reinforcements and supplies? Yeah, that didn't go too well for them. The first months of the war made the Ukrainians masters of annihilating Russian supply convoys, and now they have even better weapons to do it with. This is something the Russians are well aware of, and it means that over the following weeks we will probably begin to see more artillery attacks on Ukrainian cities and more hard Russian assaults along the line of contact. The Russians desperately need to gain some sort of upper hand in the war before winter. The thing is, the Ukrainian Kherson counteroffensive has given the Russian command a real headache, because while the Russians desperately need soldiers to continue attacking in Donbas, they now have to send troops away from there and towards Kherson and southern Ukraine instead. This is also one of the reasons why the front lines have been close to static as of late. But does this mean that the Russians have stopped attacking Ukrainian positions in Donbas? Absolutely not. Heavy fighting is reported to be happening in several places in the vicinity of Bakhmut. The Russians have been attempting to gain ground in this area for several days now. The latest information I have regarding this seems to indicate that the Russians have not been able to push through the heavily defended Ukrainian lines. By now, the Ukrainians will probably have transformed the whole city into a fortress. If we head a little further north, we come to the small village of Darfenke, where savage Russian attacks were once again beaten back. And this actually amazes me, because I have been reporting on Moscow's attempt to capture Darfenke and its surrounding area basically since the beginning of the war. I remember not long after Vladimir Putin launched his illegal invasion of Ukraine, I saw a video where an elderly Ukrainian lady was handing out sunflower seeds to Russian soldiers. She would tell them that they should put the seeds in their pockets so that when they died, nice sunflowers would grow where they fell. I believe that once this war ends, Donbas will be the site of one of the prettiest sunflower fields in Ukraine. I mean, the Russians have literally tried to capture the area for 6 long months now, and without success. Thousands of Kremlin soldiers must have fallen here. It's extreme, and Donbas is a very small village. Before the war, only around 850 people called it home. Moscow's latest attack here seems to have ended in failure as well. The village of Donbas, of course, isn't the Russian objective. That would be the city of Sloviansk, a little further to the southeast. Russian artillery have also been working in overdrive along the line of contact in the entire Donbas region. Dozens of civilian targets are shelled each and every day. This is nothing new under the sun, unfortunately. They are hitting houses, apartment blocks, schools and hospitals, completely destroying the lives of thousands of innocent people. And this is absolutely the worst part of the war, the fact that the Russian army is deliberately targeting civilians. There's no excuse for it, and I'm sure there will be no forgiveness either. Since the beginning of the Russian invasion on February 24th, Vladimir Putin has lost close to 46,000 of his troops. One question I get a lot is, how many Ukrainian heroes have paid the ultimate price for defending their country and Europe? Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Valery Zaluzhny, said this at the Veterans Forum, and I quote, "Not only military personnel, not only those who took up arms participate in the war, our little children, who are not guilty of anything at all, except that they were born right here and right at this time. They really do not understand anything that is happening, but they definitely need protection, and protection, for example, near Soledar, near Bakhmut, near Velika Novoselka, as well as here, because their father went to the front. Perhaps he's among those almost 9,000 heroes who died." End quote. I have to say this, at the moment we can't be entirely sure whether that number, 9,000, only refers to members of the armed forces of Ukraine or whether it refers to everyone who has fallen. Soldiers, police officers, territorial defense, etc. One thing that is absolutely certain, however, the names of the fallen will be carved into stone, and their sacrifice will never be forgotten. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel and click the bell button. I would also be very happy if you would help me out by sharing this video.